Okay, recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our third and final Clean 3 focus meeting. We are going to talk about, we wanted to first open it up to questions. So I want you guys to message us with questions that you've come across or things that you've noticed over the last 3 weeks, either good or bad, things that maybe wins or big L's that you found, and maybe things that you need help with or things that you know have helped you that might help somebody else, or just a question. If you have questions on certain things, throw it right in the chat. I'll be able to see it, and then we'll answer those at the end. How do you want to start things off?
I want to hear too, like, what, if anything, have you learned from what we have talked about for these past 3 weeks that have been helpful for you? It's helpful for us to know. So just let us know what you've enjoyed about this Clean 3 challenge. And maybe just for future reference, what you would like to see more of for some nutritional challenges that we possibly can pull together in the future.
And those of you that are going to watch this later, that's it's being recorded for, put it right in the comments, things that you noticed or that you learned or that questions you still have. Krista, why don't you kick it off? Where do you want to start off?
Well, I think we did a really good job talking about fats in our first video, which was Monday, I believe we posted that. So if you guys have any more questions regarding fats, we just basically, just to recap, I don't know if we recorded that one or not, but anyways, just to recap, just talking about the importance of fat. We also did a post in our Instagram, so you really got a good amount of information. And just, we'll go through a quick recap at the end. Unless you want to do the recap now of just what the weeks were. Protein, the first week, where we kind of put you at that 0.6, 0.8, really zoning in on protein, not over consuming protein, but just inserting more protein. We talked about tracking and the importance of tracking. And we'll go over that a little bit more because some information, you know, we've had some questions with that with some of our focus meetings. So we'll go over tracking again. And carbs, healthy carbs. What are some good healthy carbs to incorporate? Obviously, we're really pushing you guys for all macros to go as whole foods as possible, really staying away from the processed as much as possible, but still enjoying what you enjoy. But just having that consistency and like achievable lifestyle is always our main goal. I just had some quick stuff I wanted to go over for some tips. I don't know if you want to like dive. Does anyone have any questions that you want to ask about fats before we move away from it?
Toss them in the chat or unmute yourself. Speak on up.
Any questions about like the fad diets that are out there? We can go over those briefly. I would say like keto, intermittent fasting, carb cycling, anything like that. If you have questions about those are other good topics to bring up, so you can ask away, but those are more specific. And again, we're always going to lean you more towards like a whole foods lifestyle, consistency.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely times where, I mean, I've definitely tried a good amount of different diets, and what works for me might not work for someone else. And with, you know, keto, it's super, super low in those carbs, the stuff that we use for energy. And I think a lot of you have gotten that. So if it's for a, you know, medical reason or whatever, maybe it does work for you. Same thing with intermittent fasting. If you're someone that just cannot even stomach the idea of eating in the morning, maybe that's something more along the lines for you, but making sure you're still getting in the proper amount of calories and nutrients you need during the day, super different in those types of fad diets. And the reason that they're called a fad or a diet is because they don't typically last long term. So there's more likelihood that, I'm not saying it's not possible, but there's more likelihood that you will either bounce back to where you started, or you may fall off track, or maybe, you know, it's something that's just not sustainable for you, but some people make them work. So absolutely, if you have questions on that, throw them at us. One thing I wanted to bring up that was big about the Whole Foods, in a post I saw the other day from one of these guys that I follow. It's a great, he's actually in the UK. His take on nutrition and diet is, you know, okay, well, I'm getting this information about how I need to stick into my macros and how I need to focus on hitting my numbers, but also, and being in a calorie deficit, but also eating whole foods. Which one do I lean more towards? And the answer is not yes or no. It's not like a do more of this, do more of that. It's finding ways that you're able to incorporate a little bit of both. And I think with tips that we have for you guys, it can help kind of incorporate these healthy proteins, fats, and carbs that we've talked about over the last 3 weeks. Christy, you said you had some of those.
Yeah, and I just to briefly go over those fad diets, the keto, intermittent fasting, all of that. Really, all of them have great benefits. But at the end of the day, just like Joelle said, you kind of have to make it a lifestyle choice and really stick with it for a long period of time to even get those benefits. And a lot of us jump on those things for like 2 weeks, don't see immediate results, jump away from it, end up spiking stuff back up. So we can go into details with those more specifically if you have one that you wanted to look more into. The tips that I have is just a couple of quick things that I pulled together. We zoned in a lot on protein and really pushed the protein, but I want to make sure that you guys know to do that in moderation. So don't get overwhelmed with the numbers that we have for you for protein with the percentages that we gave you. The 0.6 to 0.8 is a great starting spot, but just keep it in moderation. And that's with all of those things. So when it comes to the macros and tracking, just enjoy the process. You know, it shouldn't be a stressful process. And I think that I really didn't want to take these 3 weeks and stress you guys out with protein, carbs, fats, and where you should be. And that's all there is to nutrition. And once you get that, you're good. It's really not. I wanted it to be a lifestyle, and I try to stress that as much as possible. So a couple of those tips are just chill on tracking. If it's too much for you, don't worry about it. You know, it's not the end of the world if you miss a day or take a break for a week. Tracking is used to understand what you're eating. It's really insane when I take a month off, think that I got this, you know, I'm a certified nutritionist, I'm a trainer, I've got this, no big deal. And then all of a sudden a month later I'm tracking and I'm eating like 3,000 calories or something ridiculous where I thought I was in a deficit. So it's really just learning and educating yourself on what the foods are that you're eating, what are made up of. So don't stress so much about it. You don't need to look into like the sodium and the fiber and all of that. Those are things that come down the line. Like just zone in on whole foods, getting to just love like foods and a relationship with foods. I think that's a really good start. One of the things I said was ask yourself why you're eating this. And I love this thing that I read probably like, I don't know, a couple months ago. And it was eat from a place of love. So think about nourishing yourself. You're putting this stuff into your bodies. And so whole foods have so many healing properties and so many great vitamins. So think about like, instead of like when you're picking up, I always go Cheez-Its or Cool Ranch Doritos because that's like my weakness. But if you're picking those up versus eating an apple, you know, think about the nutritional value that it has for your body. Again, just to stress, don't stress about it. Like eat the Cheez-Its if you want the Cheez-Its, but like nourish yourself, eat from a place of love. I absolutely loved reading that sentence. And it was like, it just meant so much to me. So write it down. Maybe it does something for you too. I don't know, but you want to eat to feel healthy and strong, and you'll see a difference. And I've mentioned this before with like just the Shaklee Whole Foods cleanse that we do, but eating healthy foods and nutritious foods versus eating, you know, pizza, even like ice cream, you know, just like the things that we have here and there. Again, fine to eat, put it in your macros, track it if you want to, have a time and place for it. But you're going to feel so much better if you really stick to quality. So that was one of them. Calorie deficit, all of those great keto, all those things that they're throwing at you, all the new things, 21-day fix, whatever they are, those are great for a quick fix. Sure, there's health benefits to it, like we said, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing is just sticking with simplicity, consistency, and a calorie deficit. If you're trying to lose weight, trying to lose fat, that's what you need to do. End of story. There's literally nothing else to it. You can do all the diets in the world you want to. They're all pushing you towards that same thing. You're going to be in a deficit, and that's why people lose weight for the most part. So you could just keep it a lot simpler and just be in a calorie deficit and eat whole foods and try to stay really good with your nutrition. You'll be in a better place. So all that other junk that people are throwing at you that you're seeing on social media, the newest, latest trend, the teas, the this, the that, it's all garbage.
Magic pill.
Yeah, the magic pill. There's no such thing. It's exactly what you're doing. You're showing up to these meetings. You're learning to love your body. You're learning about nutrition. You're loving food. You're enjoying it. You're finding new ways to cook. You're tracking your macros. You're aware of what macros even are because you've been showing up to these. You're working with your trainer on focus meetings. You're working out, resistance training, strength training. Those are all things to a healthier you. So keep sticking with that. And then, consistency, training, nutrition, educating yourself on what your body feels good, what you're putting inside your body, what's making you feel good. So at the end of the day, you had a really good meal, you had a really good week of it, you're going to feel good. Your training was good. You maybe hit the gym 3 times this week instead of 1 time or 2 times, whatever it is, you're going to feel better. So stick with things that make you feel good and try to steer away from the things that don't make you feel so good. And it's obvious. Like when you eat 2 pieces of pizza, yeah, it's delicious, but I don't know anyone that feels really good and great after they ate a pizza. Instead you could have had, and I'm just using these, and like I say all the time, I really don't want you to stress and not eat pizza ever again. I love pizza. It's a staple in our household. But I really focus in on like what makes me feel healthy and what makes me feel good. And if you're one of those people who have been sluggish, energy low, not feeling great, try to change things up. It's you're in control of it. So make a couple changes in the right direction. Start educating yourself on what feels good and eat from a place of love. I think that's what the title of this is going to be.
Okay, I'll make that the title.
Those are my, those are just like little quick tips from what I had.
And to go off of that whole calorie deficit thing, to give you guys like a number, you may or may not be aware of this number, but in order to lose a pound of fat, weight, whatever, you have to burn an additional 3,500 calories, or you have to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit over, a span of time. So that doesn't mean that you eat 2 calories a day. That's not what we're saying. Over a week, a pound a week is a pretty steady, pretty realistic goal for weight loss, okay? You may take a more vigorous route if you have more weight to lose. Maybe you end up losing 2 pounds a week, whatever. And that's for those people that are just starting off, maybe getting into it. But 3,500 calories is a pound of fat. That is what you need to cut out in a week in order to lose a pound of fat. And that's just how it is. That's just how energy is burned. So when we say calorie deficit, that's what we're talking about. So say you eat 2,000 calories a day and you're not losing weight and you're wondering why, a pound a week as a weight loss goal is going to put you at, cutting out 500 calories a day from what you're eating now. That doesn't mean you've been tracking and you're kind of losing weight, but you want to lose even more and then you cut yourself down to 900 calories. No, that means if you're not tracking, you're not paying attention, you don't know what you're eating, you get on that tracking, lifestyle, you're going to end up losing a pound a week because you're cutting those calories out. Okay. So that's just kind of like a little factoid, a number to keep in your head. And also, how do we recover from being off track, right? So we go out with our friends, we go out to Good Luck and have that burger that's absolutely amazing. Sorry, Krista. It's really good. They also have pasta dishes that are vegetarian, anything like that. Going out, having a couple drinks. You wake up the next morning, you're beating yourself up because you went out, you enjoyed yourself, you were so good with tracking all week. How could I let myself do this? The last thing you want to do is to continue to stress about it. I was talking to a member about, I feel like, when I'm not tracking, I'm actually losing weight. I'm doing, I feel like the scale's going down and I don't try not to pay attention to the scale too much, but I don't understand. I'm not getting that. It could be that you're just over stressing about the numbers that you're tracking. So taking a second and just realizing like, okay, like if I over stress about it, if I'm losing sleep and worrying about it all the time, your body will hold on to that weight. Stress can come from anything. So finding a good stress relief, number one, but finding that understanding of, okay, this is not life or death. I need to make sure that I'm fueling my body with the right stuff. If I don't hit my numbers exactly on, it's not the end of the world. I want to eat better for my body, for my health, but I cannot over stress about this. It's just like anything else. The more you stress about it, and a lot of times we're overthinking it. So if you have 2 eggs, 3 eggs, and then you have a scoop of cookie butter, like you ate the scoop of cookie butter, you did. So you got to put it in your phone, but it's not punishment. And it's not like you have to admit that you ate it and you have to go, to your trainers and confess your sins. No, it's tracking for you, what feels good for you, knowing that the next day, why do I feel so crappy? Oh, because I ate a spoonful of cookie butter. I've done it. I've been there, people. Been there. But understanding that it's okay. And then instead of sitting there and sulking and being upset with yourself, it's bouncing back and saying, okay, all I can do now is eat better my next meal, or eat better tomorrow, or focus on getting my water in for the day, and doing little steps like that instead of sitting there and just making yourself feel worse about it. Because what are you going to do then? Stress about it more, hold on to weight. Maybe you'll binge more. Maybe you'll go into a whole pizza eating spree and just go to every pizza joint you find on your way home because you're upset. So don't stress too much about it. Don't over stress. And then what was my other tip that we want to talk about? We talked about the diets and stuff like that. Oh, we wanted to answer one of the questions. So question one that we have, coconut oil versus olive oil. Why is coconut oil preferred over olive oil, since it actually has more saturated fat in it? Is there one to use better in certain cooking techniques over the other? So
yeah, go ahead.
So I personally choose coconut oil for baking and things like that, just because olive oil doesn't work super great with like when you're baking or making, your protein muffins or whatever. I also, when I cook my eggs in the morning, I use a coconut oil spray from Trader Joe's, and it has no calories in it. Not really sure how, but it doesn't. And that's what I use instead of a butter or like a raw coconut oil. I used to use the raw coconut oil, scoop it out, plop it in my pan and let it melt. I think it could be preference. I think either way you slice it, oil is oil. With comparing those two, the saturated fat in it, yes, is going to be higher. Coconut oil is going to have more saturated fat than I think your olive oil. I don't know exactly the difference. I would say preference, number one. That's why I choose it. Krista?
Olive oil is probably less in calories. I think it's like 120 or something like that. I don't know. Versus coconut. Olive oil has more of the healthier fats, and coconut oil has that saturated fat, more of that. I mean, I use olive oil more than I do with coconut oil. It's definitely a preference thing, but I mean, scientifically, olive oil is the healthier option, I guess, but it's really a preference. I know that there's less calories in olive oil, and I use the spray olive oil, 0 calories there too, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. I don't use a lot of the oils because I get my fats from other areas, like avocados are life. So I don't know. If I use olive oil, it's like a drizzle. It's like 13 grams of fat for half a teaspoon or something ridiculous. And it's so upsetting when I see that. So I'm like,
fats from somewhere else, right?
Yeah. I don't even want to use you. You're wasting all my
Trader Joe's spray on the pan, boom, done.
Yeah. Don't even get to taste you. You're not satisfying.
No, you don't taste good. And one thing
coconut oil for the hair and nails, there's a lot of like benefits. There's a lot of benefits to both of them. So play around with both. Don't hate on one or the other. Enjoy both of them if you can. Otherwise, try to, enjoy other fats.
So, and also I want to say that little things like that, like, okay, is this fat better than this, even though it's a little higher in calories? Or over time, like, they are really, really going to add up. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're choosing a healthier, lower glycemic oil, like olive oil or coconut oil, in comparison to a canola oil or butter, you're going to find it's a healthier option, but two, it's that. I mean, it could be really, like, if you're really trying to get down to it, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not going to be the big deciding factor in the fact that you're still holding on to the 15 pounds that you're trying to lose, or that you're not able to hit that calorie number unless you've really tied every other end together. The difference between the coconut oil and the olive oil shouldn't be like that detrimental, like, difference. Do you know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, like, maybe I'm holding on to this 8 or 10 extra pounds because I'm choosing coconut oil instead of olive oil. So I would say preference first. That's all. That's the only question we have.
Oh,
thank you for the question. I do love coconut oil. I also think it tastes better. I don't know.
For baking, for sure, I use it, but
yeah, I do love the sprays. Trader Joe's is the best. I want to talk about meal prepping really quick. It's been a question I've gotten a lot. I've had people that straight up just don't cook. And they're just like, I don't know even how to cook. I don't have the time, whatever. So my first thing there is to prep on a day, cut up a bunch of veggies, bell peppers, toss them in a Tupperware, open a bag of sugar snap peas. Like if I feel in a snacky mood, I'd much rather grab some of those than, the Cheez-Its that I have in my cupboard. Or I have tortilla chips in my cupboard and it's just like, I'll just snack on those. No, sugar snap peas, probably better, closer to my goals. Eating to love my body and nourish my body.
Eat
And
from a place of love.
eat from a place of love. So, but prepping yourself in that way, maybe the reason I brought up Trader Joe's, if you just cannot, I think it was Chrissy, she doesn't like cooking her chicken or all of her meat in the beginning of the week and like carrying it over all the way to Friday. Like it gives her the heebie-jeebies, or whoever it was. I think it was her. I agree. So what I will do is I'll go to Trader Joe's, has like already cooked grilled chicken that's like already sliced up, perfect for like topping on salads. And it's just easy. Like I'd grab 2 containers or 1 for the week or whatever. And I maybe would make chicken from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I'd stop at Trader Joe's on my way home from the gym and grab that. And it's an easy way to just grab a little bit of protein without having to cook or take that extra step. Take advantage of the discounts we have with Savage Chef. We've got tons of coupons. Their meals are great. The macros are right on there. Even if you don't have a barcode to scan, at least okay, I have this for lunch. I know I'm going to be slammed at work, better than me just running over to McDonald's and grabbing a Big Mac. Yeah, Big Mac and a large Coke. Like I'm just going to bring the Savage Chef meal. They have I had steak and potatoes that Krista saved for me. So good. So good. Project Lean Nation has the same situation over there. They have a lifestyle and an athlete area. So where Pete might reach towards like an athlete because he's doing soccer all the time and he's burning so many calories and just constantly going. Whereas I, smaller of a human, a female, don't burn probably quite as much. I'd reach for more of their lifestyle. They have all the macros on there. You can order 6 meals is like 6 meals. You could freeze them. I think it's like $50. It's a little on the pricier side, but for some of us that don't have the time to sit down and prep or have that Sunday because we're, selling our house and moving into a new one, or we have tons of stuff to do, it works for them. That's a great option. Doing it with a friend, doing that produce share. I just ordered Western New York produce the other day, $25. I got tons of, said 2 heads of broccoli. The broccoli's, I kid you not, one of them is like the size of my head. So getting stuff like that. And I invited my friend over the one day and we just meal prepped. She brought her Tupperware. We cooked together. There may have been wine involved. I don't know. But it was fun. I enjoyed myself and I set myself up for the week with my veggies, with my snacks, with at least planning out like what I wanted to do for the week, taking out the ground turkey from the freezer because I knew I wanted to make stuffed peppers in 2 days for dinner. Little things like that. Like think about, okay, like if I feel crappy when I go off track, how do I eliminate that option for myself during the week? The weekends are tough. If you got to go out to the cottage and have a couple White Claws and eat, a couple chips and dip, whatever, fine. Tomorrow, the next day, do not sit there and sulk in it. But also during the week, allow yourself to plan so that you know that you're going to be on track and you're going to put your goals first, so that you feel better in the mornings, like we talked about in the last video. You're going to wake up feeling good, but also bring yourself closer to where you're trying to get.
And the good news is that we live in a amazing world, and we also have Wegmans, which is awesome, where like everything is literally prepped for you. They make it so super easy. Of course, cooking yourself and knowing the ingredients that you're using trumps anything. But I mean, they've got the grilled chicken right at Wegmans. They've got berries already in containers for you. They've got everything done. So there's literally no excuse. You could also take 30 minutes of your day somehow and shove in some time to prep a little bit for yourself. Just just do it. Just make it happen. Make it happen. And it doesn't have to be cooking. There's plenty of like no-bake meals out there. There's crock pot ideas. There's so many ways to make life easier for you and your family, because there are some of us who like have to prep it feels like 7 meals in one day because everyone has different eating stuff. So, try to make it as easy as possible. Keep yourself in mind. Don't lose track of that for sure. And well, you were just saying something at the end and I wanted to say something. Oh, Yes, I remember. So going out on the weekend and stuff like that, the weather is still somewhat nice-ish, and we're trying to get it all in before school starts, going back to work and all that. Just know that like one weekend of going out and partying, I know it's like 48.2% of your week, but one weekend of just enjoying yourself, not that you're not doing that throughout the week because you are taking care of yourself, should be enjoyable. But that weekend of like having the White Claws, if that's your thing, I highly recommend I have a great drink recipe. Maybe I'll throw up there like a little skinny drink recipe. White Claws they make me like gag.
Well, after you've had too many of them, that'll happen too.
I know. They're so bubbly and they make you bloated and then you're.
Yes. Yeah, and finding a drink, absolutely. Finding a drink that you feel good drinking that doesn't make you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in a bathing suit and now I've got like this bubble belly because I'm so bloated. I haven't even eaten anything today. Like,
yeah, gross.
Which don't drink on an empty stomach either.
Yeah. So enjoy that weekend with your friends, family, whatever it is, before you got to go into work. Don't use it as an excuse to like go all out and be ridiculous. Like we're past that point. You're obviously here for a reason. You have goals. You want to work on yourself. Like have a little bit of control. We're all at that age now, right? So enjoy yourself, and that's it. Don't stress about it. There's nothing that you can't pick back up on Monday and get right back to it. It just becomes an issue. And by issue, I mean maybe steering you further away from your goals if it's happening every single weekend. And that 48.2 or whatever the percentage is, I can't remember. It used to be drilled into our brains back in the day. But whatever it is, then it starts becoming an issue. If it's continuously, if you're consistently being consistent with being unhealthy on the weekends and that's your thing, you're taking 3 to 4 days right there. So keep that in mind. Every once in a while, go for it. Have fun. But that's my take on the weekends thing.
Also,
nobody going to tell me not to have a good time on the weekend and eat what I want. So that should be how you live your life, eat what you want. I do what I want.
Also when you're meal prepping too, totally not on topic, but back to like the Wegmans and the whole grocery shopping thing, frozen vegetables, do it. Do it all. Get the frozen veggies. Do it. Are you kidding me? No, I have these Wegmans special blend grilled veggies. It's got like eggplant, it's got grilled peppers, red onions. Toss them in a pan with olive oil, with salt and pepper. So a little bit of garlic salt maybe. Frozen vegetables are not, if you're looking for a cheaper option and you know you're on a budget and you gotta somehow get those veggies in and you know that your veggies spoil so the fresh veggies aren't gonna work for you. You work overnights or I don't know, whatever. Frozen veggies, don't count them out. Try them.
Give them a try. I've tried them. I have them. They're so
it's going to be a no for me.
I cook them up for my dogs.
Wait, I'm going to show you the ones that I get because I'm obsessed with them. And I recommend them to everybody.
They always end up being soggy. Same with those freaking Trader Joe gnocchi. Someone needs to make them for me because they're always soggy when I make them and they're so gross.
These.
Nope.
Oh, gosh. Yum. With a little chicken.
I would rather put a tray of veggies in the oven or on the grill and make them myself. But that's a nice, easy way to do it. They don't turn out good for me. They're always soggy and gross. But whatever.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. If it's either these or I eat a bag of chips.
All right, you do you.
So, guys, but seriously, if you haven't tried frozen veggies, give them a shot. If you're not getting in those vegetables, you feel like you're spending way too much money on spoiled veggies and they just go bad and you don't eat them quick enough, frozen's always a good option.
Also, speaking of frozen cherries, throw some frozen cherries in a bowl and have those as a snack, and they're delicious.
And grapes.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Zucchini mini pizzas are great this time of year with low sugar pizza sauce from Trader Joe's if you want to eat pizza. I love that. There's also great cauliflower pizza crust out there. You can make your own, throw a ton of vegetables on it. Maybe the frozen vegetables on a frozen cauliflower pizza. Throw that in the oven. That might work.
I actually have some zucchini that I have to cut up still. I did, this is turning into food talk, but anyways, I did literally you cut off, you do 2 ears of corn and you cut the corn off into a bowl. Then you do cut up zucchini. I did yellow and green, toss a little bit of salt and pepper. And I think it's a tablespoon or two. And it's like a lot of vegetables of Wegmans lemon basil, lemon herb dressing. Toss it all together. It's the most refreshing summer vegetable ever now that it's almost September. But try it. I have tons of it. I'll deliver it to your homes. It is really, really good. You're getting corn, which is, on the, what is it, legume?
It's like Has no nutritional value,
But
but
the zucchini in there, you could also add some avocado in there. So there's definitely ways to have fun with it.
all right.
Freeze current produce is good right now to stock freezer for winter. Wait, what's flash freeze? What is that? Unmute yourself. Can you talk?
It's where, like, if you got so I have a really large garden right now, and so I pick green beans and stuff, and you can kind of like do a flash steam for like maybe a minute to 3 minutes in boiling water, and then put them on like a cookie tray, stick them in your freezer for like a day, and then they're flash frozen for the year. Stick them in a freezer bag or something, and then when you're meal prepping in like December or something, then you stick them in your lunches then or something.
Wow.
So I do that for green beans, butternut squash. I do them for fruits and veggie fruits, blueberries and stuff, so I don't have to pay out the yin yang for blueberries come winter.
You can look at a watermelon for $25 at Wegmans. That's all. You can just look at it. Thank you, Nicole. That's awesome. I got to get myself a veggie garden. I would say that's what we've got for you guys. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to add anything, if you have anything else for us, comment when I post this or send us a message or whatever. And keep sticking with this. It's about sustainability. It's about carrying this over and continuing to move forward with this and taking what you've learned, applying it not only to Commit to Fit that we're going to be starting in a week, but also your life. Don't take it too seriously. If you need something, if you have a question, if you don't know what the heck you're doing, if you lose track, you lose sight of it, bring yourself back, message one of us, get in for a one-on-one focus meeting. And that's all I got for you.
Nailed it.
What am I calling this? Eat to love your body?
Eat from a place of love. But you have to say it and read it like that when you see it. It's got to be very gentle. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys. Have a great day. Good luck.
Bye. Thank you.